Well, the music situation, vocal, was getting into good shape. Got around to going back and visiting some more in the band program. Herb Keene, great teacher, good man, good fellow. I was just amazed, really. Within, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, with a lot of 7th graders as well as 8th graders in his band, things were picking up real well. He's the kind of fellow that in the subsequent years, when he found out that we were working hard with scheduling, not just at Evergreen Junior, but in the county as a whole, to do creative things with scheduling. He came in and he said, is there any chance that I could have all the clarinets during one of the periods when I don't have the large band and work with them, or maybe have clarinets and trombones, you know, kind of do sections. Well, I said, I'll work on that next year when we make next year's schedule. And I don't know if that took place during the first year, but whatever year it was. I said, I'll work on that as we make the next year's schedule. Well, he said, you know, if you don't mind, he said, I'd like to work on it right now. I said, you know, if you can do it, what it would amount to, in my opinion, would be to find out where the kids are that you want and then work with that teacher to see if you can make some switches where we don't throw the class size thing too much out of balance. And if you can work it out, great. Well, he did work it out. And you know, his band already was good, but it got a lot better when he could have the percussion people in there and work a class period with them and have the trombones and clarinets and so on. I really appreciated him and appreciated that band. And I think Mr. Huckabee, the high school band teacher, he probably appreciated that, because then those students were just that much further along when they got up there to join the high school band. Just as happy as I was with the music programs now, both vocal and band, the more I watched the PE programs, I was a little bit unhappy with the girls' physical education program. And it was pretty hard to figure what was going on, that I knew it wasn't good, but I couldn't really figure out what it was that was the reason it wasn't good. So I began to not just make a visitation, but to do a lot of passing through the girls' gym. I began to catch on. A lot of the time that lady would be seated with one kid doing something, and eventually I realized that she'd be helping that kid with poetry, or they'd be discussing religion. Well, I'm not against poetry and I'm not against religion, but I don't think you have a room full of kids doing physical activity and not be paying attention to them. It's dangerous, among other things. And then I guess it wasn't too much of a surprise then to find out that we were having trouble in the dressing rooms. One day some girls came over just hopping mad. Somebody had stolen their left tennis shoes, or their left street shoes, whatever they were, tennis shoes or whatever. You're kidding. No, we're not kidding. There's 5 or 6 of us that the left shoe is just not there when we got ready to dress. Well, a little inquiry with those girls, turns out that a lot of times this good lady is not supervising the dressing room. They say she's out getting a smoke. Well, you know, I can't supervise the girls' dressing room, But you can start dropping by at the end of class time and find out that sure enough, sometimes that teacher's out having a smoke. So we have little talks about it. And I can't remember. I think it probably was the second or third year before I decided the lady's not doing her job. She's not listening. So I recommended non-renewal, tenure teacher. Well, my boss was a lady, Miss Joy Clapp, and she would apparently either telephone or ask the PE teacher to drop down for a visit. I don't know which or how. But then she would counsel me that the teacher says that you're anti-women and that she's just not guilty of doing anything but a good job. So we don't go ahead and non-renew her. Well, and she'd tell me she's talked to her and there'll be no more problem. Yes. After the conversations with Miss Clapp, there would be some improvement for a while and then right back to the same old thing. So the next year I would put the same recommendation in for non-renewal. The same process would go on apparently, because I'd get the word from Miss Clapp that she says you're just against women and I'm not going to take this on up the line. Well, the years went by, and it came to the point that Miss Clapp reached retirement age and retired. And the word went out that a gentleman, Don Ingerson, had been hired as the new director of junior high schools. We're all looking forward to meeting him. So the school year that he is the new man on board, just like I get around and visit very early, I tell you, it was first, second week of school. Wasn't far into the school year at all, and he had a lot of junior highs. Well, he's up at Evergreen, and I get to tour him around and show him this, that, and the other, and I'm pretty darn proud of that school. And we are winding up, walking to his car, and I'm thinking, oh, doggone it, he never gave me a chance to really get at these things that are of real concern to me. So I said, there's a couple of three things. And he said, well, I think one of them might have to do with the girls' PE teacher. Yes, sir, it does. Well, he said, I'll tell you what. He said, I've reviewed what you've written for each year. I've looked at those evaluations. And he said, I'm going to make a deal with you and with another principal. He said, there's another principal that they have a PE teacher, lady PE teacher, that they're not happy with. And I'm going to approach those two ladies and tell them, look, I'm going to exchange. He said, I know you're going to say I'm going to give you somebody else's dirty linen and I'm going to give your dirty linen to somebody else. But he said, I'm going to give a fresh start. Since she says you just don't like women, we'll give her a chance with a new principal. And he said, I'm not going to go into what the problems are with the other lady, but she gets her fresh chance with you. And he said, with both of the ladies, I'm going to tell them, look, this is your second chance, but it's also your last chance. You either get along or you will be non-renewed. Mr. Ingerson impressed me right away as one fine fella to have as a boss. There were a couple of other things that he said, too, that were problems that I want to talk about, but I don't want to get into those at this particular time. But I got a new PE teacher. Oh, man, she was as young and, not young, but compared to the other lady, she was as young and pretty as a picture on a calendar, and got along well with the kids, and supervised their dressing room, didn't have any more of those kind of problems, and everything seems to be very, very good. Well, I have to tell you that Ding Dong just said I'm going to run out of time. I have to tell you the rest of the story next time.